LifeClub with Tashima Jones, the podcast, brought to you by Tashima Jones Media. Keep in mind that this content is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Welcome to another session of LifeClub with me, Tashima Jones. Today, we are focusing on not allowing the past to hold you back. So often, people may feel trapped by the experiences of long ago, whether it was a relationship, event, or personal challenges. When it comes to the past, you'll find that it's not a matter of simply getting over it. Get your pens and journals ready to discover just how the past has the potential to hold you back and tips on getting through it to enjoy the present moment. As always, when we know the definition of a thing, we are better equipped to using it properly. Today, we just have one term: paradigm shift. A paradigm shift is defined as a fundamental change in approach or underlying assumptions. It is the process of changing how you think, which ultimately changes your expectations. When we talk about being held back by the past, what we are really discussing are the habits and mindsets that keep us there. These habits and ways of thinking are associated with how we navigated through past events. They may look like coping mechanisms, thinking patterns, or simply based on what's familiar. Limited thinking is not solely a matter of having a scarcity mindset as much as it is based on limited experiences or exposure. If you are in a long-term toxic relationship, chances are you will adapt to toxicity. This doesn't mean healthy relationships don't exist. In this case, there is not a lack of healthy relationships. It just reflects that you have not been in a healthy relationship in a while. For example, the all men are dogs theory is just that. It's a theory, and it is usually believed by an individual who has experienced more unhealthy relationships than healthy ones. This theory is a mindset that can be seen as a coping mechanism built up to protect the individual who has been hurt, or it can be seen as the result of being familiar with toxic relationships. And part of the reason this individual may continue to find themselves in an unhealthy partnership could be because of the patterns developed in that first relationship that were simply carried over into the decision-making process of choosing a partner. Again, the past has a way of holding us back because of how previous experiences shaped us in the way that we think, feel, and behave. This is the clue to being free from the past. In order to get free from the past, one must become free from the patterns of the past. Whether you are in a familiar situation or out of it, freedom starts with acknowledging that you are being held back. Next, start to process how the past may have shaped you. Did you become bitter and hard-hearted? Did you shrink and shy away from your true self? Did you start to believe that you weren't enough? Once you discover the result of how the event changed you, consider how you believed those changes in some way protected you. The brain is wired with a protective mode application called survival mode. It is designed to keep you safe. However, this mode only considers what it already knows, not all of the possibilities of what could be. With that being said, perhaps you fawned because you learned that making yourself small keeps you out of trouble. Did you become loud and irate? Maybe you found that making yourself bigger was a way to scare people away so that you didn't have to be vulnerable. These are just a few ways we may deal with things that were intimidating, confusing, or uncomfortable. The issue with the brain is that once it learns something, it may take a while to unlearn it. Time is a factor, but it is worth the effort to shift out of the past. Consider if you wore a ring for a year. Oftentimes, once you remove that ring, your body may still feel like it's there. The same thing can be a factor in relationships or events. Because we have memory both in our body and our brains, it may take some intentional retraining to pick up the new mode of thinking and replace the old. There is beauty in this because we don't have to be bound to the past. Being held back may look like refraining from something you enjoy or something new based on fear. It can be seen in limited ways of being developed from previous experiences. It can show up as indecisiveness or lack of confidence. This idea of being held back is a state of not going forward even when you need to or desire to. Getting free from the past is not a matter of moving to another country or cutting off everyone who knew you when. It's really rooted in processing how events may have impacted your way of being, healing, and replacing those beliefs and actions with what is required in the present moment. Most of all, it is a matter of establishing the truth about who you genuinely are and living from that place going forward. Here is your life work. Based on this session, set aside at least 10 minutes and reflect on the following. Consider at least one area of your life where you believe you are being held back by past events. Remember, this looks like limited thinking, a lack of confidence, or a fear of moving forward. Now, consider an event that may have occurred to create this way of being. Some events may automatically come to mind, while others may take some time of reflection to come to the surface. Once you discover the event, consider the ways you changed to adapt or cope with this event. Did you become distant or make yourself small? And how did this change in behavior create a sense of safety for you? Next, consider how the action of becoming small, for example, did not change your value. Are you able to see that the coping mechanism didn't and doesn't define who you are and your worthiness? Now, consider your current circumstances and the truth about who you are. If you find yourself in similar situations as the past event, consider healthy alternatives of navigating this situation. In addition, remind yourself that coping mechanisms don't define you. It is also important to note that there are some healthy ways to cope, but it is essential to recognize that these are short-term solutions. Even healthy coping mechanisms can eventually become unhealthy in one way of being held back. Now, if your current circumstances are not similar to the events of the past, begin to list the present differences to acknowledge the reality of today. This will support in the realization that you aren't in the same place you once were in. It can create a sense of safety and an open door for you to go forward. In either scenario, practice gratitude for the safety, confidence, and the value you do hold. The more we focus on the good, the greater our exposure to the good becomes. As always, be sure to journal your experience. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Life Club with me, Tashima Jones. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you were here with me, and for that, I am truly grateful. Be sure to share and subscribe to this podcast on whatever platform you are tuning in from, and find me on YouTube at Tashima Jones Media for our 1-minute meditations and other video content. You're also invited to visit tashimajones.com for life coaching sessions, books, articles, courses, and free downloads. Until next time, remember your greatness. Talk soon.